Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. You join us from very, very unfamiliar surroundings tonight. This is the UP live feed and I am currently in the Virgin Atlantic Lounge at Heathrow. But as promised at the beginning of the year, I said I would be on here every single Wednesday at 8 PM, so I'm keeping that promise. A massive, massive shout out to Virgin Atlantic, Mr. Richard Branson. If you ever get to watch this, thank you for letting me use your lounge. Very, very nice of you. Of course, we are filming for YouTube. We've got a bit of an odd setup. The lighting may not be 100%, but nonetheless, I'm gonna have to try and keep my voice down just a little bit, out of courtesy to the other guests. But hey ho, some of you coming in. Manane, hello. It may take me a little bit longer to read each one of the lines as well because the lighting in here is a little bit off and I'm getting old. Matt, hello. Anito, one of my Live Up superstars. Evening, how are you? Plenty of you coming in. So, as always, we're going to go through any myths, any questions, queries on training programs, on diet, on any of our own products, our Live Up online products, our one-to-one online training products, our in-gym one-to-one training products. So you can throw any questions you like at me and I'll be sure to answer. I'm sure we'll have some jokes in there, we'll have some laughs, we'll have some little bits and bobs, and I will do my best to answer every question you have. Now, it has been a long day, indeed. I've not really slept since about 5 o'clock yesterday morning with a lot of traveling, so do bear with me. Infidel, evening, how are you? Very, very good. How nice is the backdrop here though, right? So Virgin have been kind enough to put us upstairs in a private area so I can talk to you guys without disturbing anybody else and with a nice bit of light and a little bit of quiet. But there is a pool table behind me. Sunset's just set outside the big rooftop window, but massive skylight above me. Just had a little bit of food down from the little buffet area, some kale, some salmon and carrots. It was epic, absolutely epic. YouTube camera is over there, so guys, you see me on here. Remember, if you haven't watched this live, you can go over to @UP Fitness Live and check that out. You can also type any questions, comments in the comments box below after I've posted this, and I will be sure to answer them as well. Right, here we go. We've got some coming in. Let's see what we got. Degs, really interested in the online training, but what more would I get from that compared to following your books? First and foremost, Degs, accountability. Now, it depends obviously which one you're going to do. Either way, whether you do one-to-one or if you do Live Up, you will get accountability. It will be myself or one of our other trainers you're accountable to. You have our experience, you have our knowledge, you have our direction, you have somebody to answer to constantly, which is the main thing. We've all been there, you know. If you've got your results tracked, if you know that you are answering to someone else, you're far less inclined to let them down. So that is point number one. Now, of course, you also have individualization on both plans, much more so on the one-to-one online training. Everything is bespoke to you. As you know, no one at all, anywhere in the world is within the UP ranks if they are not a high-level expert at what we do. Now, this means that you are assigned a trainer on the one-to-one who will take your medical history, your physical history, your goals, your abilities, your time, and build a program that is absolutely specific to you and to get you exactly where you need to go as fast as possible. The Live Up online plan, which is slightly different but obviously a lot cheaper, is a pre-made program that is adjusted basically to you as it goes. Now, of course, in the book you can follow instructions, but there's a large margin for error there. You know, you have to be able to interpret that right, action it right, and also be accountable to yourself and be very, very self-motivated. So it very much depends on you as an individual. For anyone wondering what book they're talking about, the second series in our second in our 4 series books has just come out. So now you have the Principles of Muscle Building and the UP Meal Planning book. If you want more on that, hit the link in my personal bio. You can go over to UP Fitness and check more out, and that will go onto Amazon and just type UP Fitness or Ultimate Performance and you'll see the books come up there. They are bestsellers, so they're going to pop right up for you. There are more coming out on that as well, so keep your eyes open. Loads of you in, loads of you in. Barista, can tight lats inhibit development in pull-ups? Thanks, man. Potentially yes, Barista, because of thoracic flexion. So you could be in this kind of posture because your lats are too tight and pulling you around. So it is worth stretching them out. And again, make sure you're mobile, make sure your chest is open. Remember, it's not always tight lats that are the issue. It could be a tight pec minor, pulling your shoulder blades down and apart, or sorry, up and apart. So you need to work on everything on your anterior chain, but also, yes, make sure that your mid and lower traps are active so you're able to retract properly during a pull-up. But yes, it's a potential. Can everybody hear me? Just as a matter of interest, I need to make sure everyone can hear what I'm saying. Is apple cider vinegar good to drink before bed, and what are the benefits? I personally, I would suggest, Naz, drinking it when you get up in the morning on an empty stomach as opposed to before bed, because it may disturb your kind of gut movements, digestion, so I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing that right before bed. First thing in the morning, doing a shot of it, yes, absolutely, it's very, very good at helping out, keeping your gut healthy, kickstarting digestion, gut bacteria, etc., balancing gut flora, so yes, by all means do it. Benji Mackers, hello. Harry, is the lemon and salt hot water in the UP Fitness Live an attempt at a salt water flush? No, not necessarily. For me, the reason I use it is because there's potentially evidence to suggest it helps the liver to cleanse the body, and it also stimulates the release of stomach acid, which I've found for me personally and all of my clients past and present really improves digestion throughout the day. There's far less symptoms of bloating for a lot of people, so that's where we go for it, not necessarily a flush. Do you have to take magnesium or many supplements on your plans, magnesium, iron and multivitamins? Mr. Chocolate, if you go to the link in my bio, in my personal bio, go over to Elliot Upton, hit the link in that bio, go to the search bar in upfitness.com and search Live Up Essentials, or just Live Up in the search bar, and it will bring up the supplement packs that are specific to the Live Up plan. So rather than me tell you what they are here, you can go there and see exactly what they are, how much they cost and why you take them. So that ticks that box perfectly. No worries, Degs, you're most welcome. Love your vids, thanks, Luann. Sophie, hello. Simon, yes, hear you loud and clear. Awesome, thank you. No problem, Naz. Lots of you coming. Barista, thanks. I've been working on pecs a lot, but I found my numbers on pull-ups super slow. I've been working on eccentric pull-ups as much as I can handle. I'll attack lats more now too. Barista, if you're trying to get strong, two things worth noting. Number one, don't overtrain, don't train to failure, don't ever fail a rep. If you're trying to get strong, don't fail reps. Secondly, if you are training tons and tons and tons of chest, this may be an issue because you'll be pulling your shoulder blades apart, you'll be pulling them up in the body, you're putting yourself in probably slightly worse posture with tighter pec minor, pec major, etc. So it's worth stretching that out, and don't do too much. Don't do too many pull-ups, certainly don't train to failure, but obviously make sure you're mixing that up with some isolated bicep work and also some horizontal pulling. Himanshu, welcome back. Elliot, many thanks for doing this. For someone who does not eat red meat, what would be the best sources of amino acids? Eat any other kinds of meats you can, so make sure you get your chicken in, make sure you get your eggs in, any kind of game, fish, etc. It's always worth supplementing on top of that with creatine, carnitine and iron, or potentially a very good multivitamin, because you're likely to be deficient in a lot of stuff. B vitamins again, maybe, so just vary everything else you're taking in. Right. Will, what is the most accurate way of calculating maintenance calories? Okay, Will, this may not be the one you want to hear, but what I would suggest you do is you track your weight for a week, and you keep, so every morning you wake up before you've done anything else, before you've taken a shit, before you've taken a piss, before you drink, before you move, weigh yourself every single week and measure that up. Now, keep an exact food diary of everything you eat and drink over that week. Now, look at the end of the week. Have you been gaining weight? Have you been losing weight? Or have you been maintaining weight? If you've been maintaining weight, that's about your maintenance calories. If you've been gaining weight, you've been over your maintenance calories. If you've been losing weight, you've been under your maintenance calories. And obviously you're then working out the average based on that week. Obviously you're not taking a 2,000 calorie day and a 1,000 calorie day and a 4,000 calorie day. You work out the average over the 7 days. That's going to be your genuinely most accurate way of figuring out where your calorie balance is. Finish week one, loving the food and the exercise program. Am I right to guess that the fats will go down in coming weeks? Michael, it depends on you. Some people will keep the fats in, some people will take the carbs out. It very much depends on each one of you individually. Now, there is no set pattern to what comes out and what goes in. On the Live Up plan, I judge that based on your photos. This is why the weekly photos that you check in with me are so important, because it allows me to see your body, and I've got a lot of experience, a lot of judgment. I can decide whether you need more carbs, or less fat, or more protein. So this is kind of changeable. I give you as much food as I possibly can, but knowing that you will lose body fat on it as early as possible, because it allows me a lot of time to bring stuff away and take that food down. But obviously I don't want to keep you down there too low. So it allows me to manipulate calories by starting your diets extremely high and in a place where really it's easy. I would imagine there's quite a lot of you from the Live Up Online plan here now watching this, and a lot of you will attest to the fact that it's not a difficult plan. You get to eat loads of food, you get to eat loads of nice food, and especially if you're skilled and you're able to create in the kitchen a little bit, you've got almost infinite freedom. I have people, when I first wrote that diet, and we're going back now over 3 years, coming up 4 years, there are people who are still doing that same diet, who initially did the first 6 weeks when it was actually called the experiment. So we go back a long time ago, because it was just an experiment on how to diet people slightly differently. And people are still on the exact same diet now. That's how easy it is to maintain. Dave, love food. BCA, yes or no for fat loss? There's a bit of a grey area with BCAAs now. Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. For me, irrelevant of what studies say, irrelevant of any of these things, I'm going to say yes. Why? Because I've always seen great results when I've given clients BCAAs, or specifically our Amplify supplement, which is not quite BCAAs. It's leucine, glutamine, electrolytes, the perfect intra-workout. But yes, partially because flavoured water tastes nicer than normal water. So what I've always found is that clients are going to drink a lot more water during their training sessions, which is always going to be beneficial. Better pumps, better nutrient delivery, better hydration, muscles are in better condition. So I'm going to say yes, but there's now evidence, you know, people are doing these studies, there's evidence to suggest that maybe BCAAs aren't as effective as they once thought they were, but this is a bit of a grey area for me, and from what I've seen, my experience, yes, they are effective. Manene, hello, how are you? Bobby, do you recommend just taking a strong multivitamin or take separate the different vitamins? Bobby, you can do as a generalized one. Two things I tend to find with multivitamins is, number one, is you may end up getting too much of one thing and not enough of the other. So it's better off finding out the specifics. What are you actually deficient in? What are you actually missing? And that can be determined by a blood test. You know, go to your GP and get a full blood screening. It's free if you've got a GP in the UK. If you're private, probably only going to cost you 100 quid, maybe $200, whatever. But that gives you a better idea of what you are deficient in and what you need. By giving yourself what you need as opposed to just blindly putting a load of stuff in, too much of a good thing can also make you feel bad. It can also have adverse effects in just the same way that not enough of the right things can make you feel bad. So, you know, try to balance them out. Try to be a bit more specific where possible. But if you can't, yeah, a good multivitamin is worth doing. Barrister. At the moment, I've been doing all A1, A2 on upper body and arm day, as well as isolate arms, shoulders, core. Your advice is noted and I will try to incorporate. No problem, Barrister, you're welcome. Chris Arpino. Chris, how's your hip? Let me know how your hip is, man. Hope you're all good. I take berberine with my meals and discovered it lowers my blood glucose significantly. In theory, I take it before bed. Would that help burn fat whilst I sleep? Chris, you don't need to burn any more fat, mate. Relax. You're absolutely shredded. You've got insane results on liver plan. The berberine is phenomenal for helping your body dispose of glucose. It's extremely, extremely good. It's very good for inflammation as well. I suggest taking it with each meal. I wouldn't necessarily say you have to take it before bed. If you want to take it before bed, I'm not sure of any adverse effects to that, but you know, I would suggest you don't need to lose any more fat, man. You're shredded. You're absolutely shredded. Dave Love Food. I'm trying to lose weight. What 5 mindset tips would, I'm guessing, would I suggest? Number one, I don't think there's even 5. There isn't even 5. If you were to ask me 5 tips with regards to your mindset, number one would be patience. You need to be patient. You must be patient, because you are not necessarily going to change it overnight. You're not suddenly going to start something new and then flip on your head and suddenly be ripped in 3 days. And that's a real problem, because most people who are not patient enough, they tend to slip quite early, then everything falls to pieces. Number two, you need to be consistent. So let's say you've got the patience and you understand that it may take 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, whatever. Consistency is then the major flaw that a lot of people don't have. They don't believe that they have to be consistent. They think, oh, I can cheat here, I can cheat here, I can do this, I can do that, I can miss a session, I can mess about. Being consistent above all else is going to be the most effective thing for you. So we have patience, we have consistency. Number 3, don't compare yourself to anybody else. If you're comparing yourself to anyone else, you're going to end up disappointed, because the guy next to you that you're probably aspiring to be, or the girl next to you that you're aspiring to be, may be of the genetic elite. You know, one of the things on social media that we all have a massive problem with is that we look at people who are the genetic elite, who were born to look the way they look, who were born to do what they do, who were born to lift, who were born to be in this industry. And we as the average Joe compare our muscle shape, our body shape, our ability to lose fat on these people. And we're always going to come up short. If you're a normal guy like me or a normal girl, you're always going to come up short against the genetic elite. So don't compare yourself to anyone. So those would be my top 3 more than anything, is be patient, be consistent, and don't compare yourself to anyone. With regards to the final bit of mindset, always have a goal. Short term, long term, and medium term. Always have something to work towards. If you're working towards nothing, why work? There's no reason for it. You fit. What's the minimum time you train a lagging body part a week, and how long would you stay in that training cycle for? Basically, for me, it will be until I stopped adapting to it. But if I were to train a lagging body part, it would always be twice a week. Give it twice a week, but don't overload it with volume. A lot of people, when they decide to train twice a week, is, let's say you're doing you know, if you're being a bit silly and you're doing your classic body part split, so you're doing arms day, a legs day, a chest day, a back day, whatever. Just by splitting the session and having an extra session on a lagging body part does not mean you double up on the total volume. It means potentially you keep the same volume, but you split it into 2 slightly shorter workouts, but load it more. And that would be the way to do it. So twice a week, and again, dependent on the muscle groups. I'm a fan, you know, if you're of the average level of recovery, you know, you're not an assisted athlete, you're not a fitness model, you're not a fitness boy, you're not a bodybuilder, I would suggest anywhere between 9 and 12 total sets per week for most people. It's going to allow you to grow, it's going to allow you to recover adequately. Most people go way over that and they don't grow and wonder why. Because you're using too much fuel, your body's in a constant state of atrophy, it's always breaking down muscle, which is not a good thing. So I would suggest training slightly less. Limit yourself to between 9 and 12 sets total per week, but make them heavy and make every single rep of those sets count. That would be my advice. Nay, hey Elliot, love these. First question, I do a daily 30-minute workout, Monday to Friday, rest of the weekend. Do you think that's overtraining? Depends what you're doing. 30 minutes is not too bad. It's only a total of 2.5 hours, which is probably less than most people doing a 3-session-a-week hit, so maybe not. But it depends what you're training, it depends if you're training the same muscles, etc. That could potentially cause a slight problem. It depends if you're training with body weight, or are you training with weights? Are you training high-intensity interval training, or are you doing kind of body coach style jumping around? Because that can potentially be quite damaging to your joints if you're doing it that frequently. So there's a number of variables there that would have to be taken into account, but not necessarily. You could be, but not necessarily. Struggling to keep up with the diet, as have a busy and, worst of all, unpredictable schedule. Any tips? Please help, thanks. Try harder, Cash. If you try harder, if it's important to you, you'll get it done. I have a busy schedule. I have a ridiculously busy schedule, in fact. You know, my average working days with various things is between 14 and 18 hours. Not necessarily because I can get tons done, but because a lot of stuff tends to go wrong in the country that I work in, and it makes things very, very difficult, and it makes tasks take a lot longer. Obviously now I'm traveling. I'm about to fly off to Dubai. I've been in a car all day and was in a plane from 5 o'clock this morning. I haven't literally stopped. I managed to get into this lounge 15 minutes before I started this live feed, then had to get straight onto the live feed. However, I have managed to get my food in, I have managed to stay compliant on my diet, I've not messed around, I've still got here to do the work. The fact of the matter is, if you want it, you will do it. Be prepared. If you're eating on the run, the chances are you're not going to be compliant. Be prepared for what you need to do and get it done. Any tips for somebody wanting to apply to UP as a trainer? Be qualified, be yourself, be prepared for probably the hardest job you will ever have, but also be prepared for it to change your life in the best way you could possibly imagine. On a low-calorie diet, if you hit your protein goals but are trying to shred, should you use the extra calories for more protein, or can have carbs instead? Depends on the person. More protein isn't necessarily going to get you more shredded. You know, there's a bit of a misconception with protein. Is yes, eating a high protein diet is very, very good, but I think what a lot of people who are conscious of fitness do is they can start overeating on protein. You know, I see a lot of people advocating 300 or 400 grams of protein a day and saying that people are going to get lean. They're just not, because most people's digestive systems cannot break that amount of food down. Now, when someone's digestive system is under stress, that is causing a physiological stress elsewhere. It's causing a hormonal stress elsewhere. Any leftover protein is being converted into glucose anyway, so it's putting a bit of a stress on the liver. There's all sorts of stuff going on. So more protein is not necessarily better. Calories essentially are king. So get your protein right. You know, as a ballpark figure, 2 to 2.5 grams per kilo should be adequate for most people. 2 would be the better end if you're a bit concerned. You know, if you suffer with bloating, things like that, keep it at the lower end and build it up when you're leaner. And the rest split between carbs and fat, but obviously if you have a lot of fat to lose, then it's worth keeping carbs a little bit lower. Gary, I'm interested in the online training, I just can't get to your gyms. The problem I have is that I work away a lot and generally in hotels. Obviously they have gyms, and I think the diet side may be a problem. Gary, it's difficult, of course, but you know, for instance, if you're doing the one-to-one online especially, things like that can be accounted for, they can be planned for. You know, I've done a few videos. If you head over to my profile, Elliot Upton, and just look for anywhere where I look like I'm in a hotel, I travel all of the time. You know, I spend probably 3 to 5 months a year in hotels, and I manage to eat on plan pretty much. It's not really an issue. It's just about being willing to ask for the flexibility. You know, if you go to any restaurant and you know that they have salads, you know that they have steaks, you know that they have salmon, you know they have all of these things, just because it isn't set on a menu, there is barely a restaurant anywhere in the world who will not be flexible for what you ask them to do. They will turn around and they will do something different. You know, say I want the salmon from here, but Don't give me the mashed potato, give me the kale, or this, that and the other. Mix and match, it's not difficult. Or of course, if you're near, depending on what country you're in, if you're near a Waitrose, if you're near a supermarket, you can almost always find the right foods in supermarkets. So it isn't that difficult. Yes, of course, it takes a little bit more conscious effort than if you're sitting at home, but if you have the willpower to do so, not a problem. Water, water, water. How much water, please? Anito, if you read the plan, it is in there. A minimum of 4 litres today, a day, potentially 6. Evening, Elliot. What are your thoughts on the carnivore diet? The carnivore diet is meat, and almost no veg. It's essentially ketosis, only slightly better educated ketosis. So I actually know someone, a doctor, who advocates it very, very much. She's in phenomenal shape, very, very strong. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. For me, from a health point of view, from a digestive tract point of view, I like to have vegetables. I like to have some fruit. So I don't think necessarily it's something that I would do out and out, because I believe in eating 1 kilogram of meat a day, absolutely red meat, really good quality meat per day, 1 kilogram every day as a male, but probably between 400 and 600 grams per day as a female, depending on training, depending on digestion, etc., and plenty of vegetables. So I'm not a full-on carnivore diet advocate, but certainly it's one of my more favourable diets out there. Dave loves food. I started training but keep getting cramps, taking salts and drinking lots of water. Any supplements to help reduce it? Magnesium, Dave. The chances are you've got a major magnesium deficiency. So take magnesium. I would suggest, if you're getting them fairly regularly, take 400 milligrams of magnesium per night. If you go over to my profile or go to upfitness.com and type magnesium, you can hit the link in my particular profile and you can get straight on there, order that, turn up 400 milligrams before you go to bed at night. That will get the cramps to subside. Once that's happened, go down to about 250 milligrams a night and that should be fine. If it's really acute and it's always in the same muscle, then I would suggest getting some topical magnesium, so some magnesium cream, and that will allow you to rub it directly on the site and it will settle everything down. Very, very common. Also, make sure you're taking electrolytes during your training session. So whether that's standalone electrolytes or our Amplify supplements full of electrolytes, is designed to stop that kind of issue. Ronnie, tendonitis is bad in both elbows for over a year now. Tried everything, nothing helps. Any recommendations? It depends why, Ronnie. It depends why they've come. You need to make sure your training is balanced first and foremost. Hot and cold therapy, contrast therapy, so every night ice it, heat it, ice it, heat it, ice it, heat it can potentially help. You may also need to just back off a little bit. A lot of people are overtraining a little bit too much, they're going to start getting tendonitis. You will have to actually stop in order to get it to heal and to allow the muscles to settle themselves down a bit and to take the strain off the tendons. Once it has healed, you take it back in slowly. For me, the more common issues with stuff like that, it's either way too high a volume and frequency or way too much weight for too long. You know, you can maybe get away with really, really heavy training protocols, let's say 3 to 5 reps for a couple of weeks at most before things start to go. Otherwise, you may just be overtraining and under recovering. But I would suggest, certainly in the first instance, back off the training quite considerably until everything's fixed. Cheers, mate. Hips doing my head in. Spread hamstring, making sleeping difficult, but back for more scans on Friday. I've been doing what I can see at leg training, which is manageable. Just don't stress it, mate. Remember, everything is connected, Chris. Don't stress that out. We don't want to be having you limping around and unusable. That's not going to do you any good. So difficult not to compare to others. I'm getting better at this as I get older. Of course it is, Liv. You know, we all struggle with it. We all do it. I do it myself. But it's one of those things that I think the sooner you can get it into your head that you are not somebody else. You are unique. You are an amazing, special, one of a kind individual. If you believe Gary Vaynerchuk, you're a 1 in a 40 trillion chance of being born. So that makes you very, very unique, and you should treat yourself as such. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Is weight training better for weight loss than cardio? Stevenson, absolutely yes it is, 100%. The reason being is hour for hour you're going to burn potentially about the same, if not more calories, overall calories, which is creating a nice big energy deficit for the week. Secondly, the demand placed on your physiology to repair the broken muscle after training is also going to increase the demand for calories. It's going to increase the demand for energy, whereas cardio, yes, you do burn calories from the hour, and there's an argument to say you burn calories, you oxidize fat slightly better during that session. However, as soon as that hour is over, it's over. There's no more fat burning there. And if anything, you know, when you train your body for endurance, you train your body to endure long, steady bouts of exercise. it's not efficient to carry more muscle. It's like me asking you to run a marathon with 40 kilos of shopping bags on your back. Eventually you're going to drop them because it's stupid. Your body does the same with muscle. If you do too much cardio and not enough weight training, it becomes inefficient for your body to hold muscle. So it will get rid of it, it dumps it, it's done, finished. So that in turn slows your metabolism. So you just got to, you know, kind of balance it around. Ushag, I'm not even going to answer those questions. Could changing your diet to eating clean, i.e. chicken and greens, give you diarrhea? If the chicken's bad, yes, or potentially if you're eating too much greens, if you're eating too much fibre, you know, for instance, if you're having a lot of spinach, that tends to send me through quite quickly, so yeah, potentially. Eero, hi Elliot, what do you recommend on 50 to 75 gram stage to get the carbs down from fruit, sweet potato, brown rice? What sauce is better to get leaner? 50 to 75 grams I would suggest mostly from vegetables, green vegetables, and a little bit of rice or something like that, rice or oats or potato post workout, whatever your choice. But 50 to 75 grams would mostly be a little bit of starchy carbs and a lot of vegetables. Liv Humphrey, what is my view on HRT? HRT is amazing. It needs to be used correctly. It's kind of misused, especially commercially. It's become very, very popular across the world by TV personalities and various media personalities and YouTube personalities. But it's massively overused and it's very incorrectly used. It can be very, very aggressive, it can be very harsh on the joints. It's very, very poorly programmed. Most of the workouts out there, whether it be, you know, our lovable rogue boy next door, Joe Wicks, or Insanity, things like that, they're not necessarily programmed that intelligently and can cause damage to wrists, ankles, etc. Over time. However, there certainly effective workouts, there certainly is a place for them, there just needs to be used correctly. Now for me, if I were to set up HIT style training, it would be 3 weight training sessions a week, 3 heavy weight training sessions a week, and 2 high intensity interval training sessions per week lasting never more than 10 to 20 minutes, and that would be enough. What we find with a lot of people that are doing HIT training is they're doing it every single day. They're getting up in the morning and smashing it, then wonder why after 6 weeks they have bad feet, they have bad ankles, they have bad knees, they have bad backs, bad hips, bad wrists, bad shoulders, bad elbows. So all the joints just start to take a kicking. I get this headaches after training, after a PT session, lift and weight. Felt good, my PT at UP felt good, as my PT at UP really knew what he was doing. However, I got these headaches all day after the weight training session. Dave, it could just be tension in the upper traps. So you've got your sternocleidomastoid here, scalenes, you've got levator scap there in the traps. After training, especially with things like bench pressing, we get a lot of tension there and it could literally just be tension. So I would recommend stretching out your neck every single day. Stretch out a lot, and again, the front of your neck, side to side, because when we're holding phones or when we're looking down at computers, it also exacerbates it, and that bit of training can just create tension headaches, which basically run up the back and side of the head. So it happens to a lot of us. Just try to make sure you're stretching your neck out quite a lot. My PT just said drink water, which I'm doing already. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be an issue with hydration, but that's more likely tension through the muscles I've just mentioned. As I say, the SCM, the scalenes, the levator scap, and the traps. So stretch your neck out side to side, up and down, and make sure, even your chest potentially, opening up your chest is going to help release that just a little bit. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, sorry about that. We just paused. The connection's a little bit rough here. He said rest, which I'm doing as well. Good, Dave. That's always worth doing. Also, thanks for doing the check-ins on the specialisation. No problem at all, over and above. That's what we do. We are UP. It's how we roll. I've tried taking a nap, but no luck to reduce headaches. I live on protein bars. Bad or really bad? Really bad, Steve Rowe. It's one of them. You know, you're wasting... you're going to cause yourself gut problems long term. That's first and foremost going to be an issue. If you've, by some miracle, you've managed to get in shape by eating protein bars all the time, you're lucky, but it won't last. And you're probably having to work a lot harder than you need to in order to do it. So I would suggest trying to eat proper food. Now, something I always advocate, I've always advocated in the past with my clients, is what I say to all the Live Up Online people, is that define a food or a product. If it's a food, eat it. If it's a product, stay away from it. Okay, so for instance, a protein bar is something that has been manufactured, it's been processed, it is a product. Even though you may think it's healthy, chances are it isn't. You know, let's look at your average protein bar, you know, really popular ones that are popping up in Tesco's now, this, that and the other. A Mars bar, A Mars bar is 170 calories, let's say. I think that's about right, 174, 175. Now, these protein bars, these healthy protein bars, are 250 calories. And then people are living off these, you know? They're taking all this stuff in, they're taking all the chemicals, all the preservatives in them. It does end up affecting gut bacteria. It's not necessarily gonna do you any favors long term, so I wouldn't do it. All right. I'm new and had my first session today. Loved it so much, but the shaky limbs are really, and I'm fucking dreading the morning with my 2-year-old. Generally, the best thing I can say is get yourself in a hot bath and sit there for a long time. Hot bath and massage your legs, get moving. It's gonna happen. Unfortunately, it's gonna happen. First few sessions are always gonna give you a bit of a kick in. Just try to keep moving, and whatever you do, don't sit your 2-year-old on your lap, because that's gonna kill your quads. You have been warned. Dan Colley, hi, sorry if you've been asked this question 1,000 times, but what are the benefits of drinking 4 to 6 litres of water a day, and how long will it take to see or feel any results? Dan, I mean, God. I haven't got long enough to go through the benefits of hydration. Your organs work better, your brains work better, your skin is better, your nails are better, your teeth are better, your muscles are more healthy, your muscles are going to grow quicker, you're going to get better pumps, you're going to be able to train harder, your stamina is going to be higher, you're going to have more motivation, you're going to be less depressed, your hair is going to be better, you name it. There is not enough things to say about being hydrated. The benefits are endless, and the reason I say 4 to 6 is because, especially as a male, you're big, you've got a lot of cells that need to be filled with water. Remember, 70% of you is water. Everything needs to process, everything needs to be healthy in order for your body to lose fat. How long will you, within a week, put it this way, within a week, if you genuinely drink 6 litres of water per day for a week, you'll feel better, you'll feel different, you'll probably look different as well. But don't think that by drinking 4 to 6 litres a day, you're suddenly going to lose 20 stone, because you're not. Anyway, starting to feel quite a lot of tension. That doesn't feel quite right when squatting hack squats. Any thought? Tension where, Danny Wade? Around your knees. Okay. What I'd suggest there, Danny Wade, if it's feeling tight around your knees, is to foam roll your IT band and your quads. Foam roll your IT band and your quads, specifically your outer quads, okay? So the outer edge where you would have that quad sweep. You could just be gathering a lot of tension in there if you're doing a lot of leg work. And it's going to start to pull your knee out of line, which can start to cause a few issues. So lots and lots and lots of foam rolling or massage if you can afford it. Get that work through every single day. Do it before and after sessions, and ideally sometime in the evening when you're sitting in front of the TV. Is it possible that all the water will stress your cells and kidneys and also flush out the good vitamins you take? Potentially, yes, but in order to get that, you'd have to be drinking 12 to 20 litres a day. Certainly not 4 to 6. How long do you need to do cardio for? I hate it and I love weights. As long as you need to, you don't need to do cardio. It's useful. Cardio helps you to create a slightly bigger calorie deficit without having to malnourish yourself by not eating much. How long do you have to do it for? Do it for 2 hours a week if you want. Do it for 4 half-an-hour sessions a week if you want. Do it for 6 20-minute sessions a week if you want. It really doesn't matter. Whatever works for you, whatever you're going to do. And most of all, pick something that you enjoy doing. Pick something that you want to do. Is bread a definite no-no in a diet? I don't know. I've always allowed it in any diet I've done. It's allowed in the Live Up plan. You just have to get your portions right. CN, what do I think about intermittent fasting? This is one that comes up every single day. Intermittent fasting has its uses, it has its health benefits for sure. It can be used for suppressing appetite, it can be used for various other things. However, from a body composition point of view, from getting in shape and staying in shape, I highly recommend you don't do it. The reason being, let's say for the few people it does work for, and we're talking about maybe 50% of the population, and that's mostly males, okay? Almost never does it work properly and healthily for females, in my opinion. 50% of the male population, it may work for. However, if you are of that 50%, I suggest you have a lot of muscle before you start it, because if you've got muscle to spare, intermittent fasting may be useful. If not, I don't think you're gonna get much out of it. So, health, potentially, it has its benefits. Body composition, which is why most of you are here talking to me, probably not. So you reckon more starchy carbs versus fruit to get leaner then? No, as I said, I mentioned a mixture of both. I didn't say just starchy carbs, I said predominantly vegetables with some starchy carbs post-workout. Mona, I have a sweet tooth and trying to lose weight. Okay, Good. I'm assuming the end of that question was probably going to be, what can I do about it? Buy yourself some Choco Treats. Go to the link in my bio or straight to upfitness.com and type in Choco Treats. It's our greens fiber shake, but it tastes like rich, dark hot chocolate. It's amazing. When trying to put on muscle, once you hit a calorie point where body fat increases, how long should you stay before increasing calories again? Until you start to dry out again, in my opinion, Cam. You'll stay there until your body starts getting a little bit leaner again, and then potentially you can jump up. Swear jar, how do I burn stomach fat extremely quickly? By exercising very intensely, weight training very intensely, and putting yourself in a calorie deficit of probably 250 to 500, and that's about as fast as you're going to do it. What's the difference working on sets of 10 reps compared to 12 reps? 2 reps, Dave. That's the difference between 10 reps and 12. It's 2. It's basically that simple. Mona, is the osteopath good for trapped nerve in the neck, causing pins and needles on the head? Yes, potentially. They may be able to crack you out and get everything back in line, but what you've got to remember about anything like that is that often it's the muscles that are pulling the bone structure out of line. So make sure you balance that out. Don't just crack the neck out. Make sure you go to an osteopath who can also massage the muscles back into balance, or see a therapist after that who can do the same. And if osteopaths, physios, therapists, whatever, give you stretches, bloody do them, because I know that most of you don't. We've paused again. I apologise for this YouTube, it keeps pausing. The Wi-Fi is not quite 100%, but there we go. I will come back on as soon as it jumps in, but if you see me suddenly looking at the camera a little bit ropey, this is why. Come on, everybody cross your fingers. Give me some connection. I'll take this as a water break though, we can do that. What have we got? We're not having it. This is not having it at all. I hope you can see me over there. I'll try and brighten this up in the post-production, and I hope you can hear me as well. Fingers crossed you can. I can see the microphone working in the bottom. Oh, there we are. Right, Instagram's back. Sorry, the Wi-Fi kicked us out again for a minute there. My PT said it's just more reps to get the volume up, but didn't quite get it. It is essentially. It's literally that simple. Armand, what would you recommend for joint pain and inflammation? Rest, food, supplements? Rest 100% absolutely. Supplements, you can take things like megacysis, fish oil is going to help your joints out, and curcumin, take high dose curcumin. Again, you can go to upfitness.com or hit the link in my bio, and you can go over and get curcumin from there. That's amazing for reducing the pain, reducing the inflammation. So those would be the top 3 for me. You'll take something like megacysis to help the joint tissue out, something like omega-3 fish oil to help the joint capsule out, and megacysis and curcumin to take overall inflammation down. And of course, yes, rest. How much cardio do you need to do? I literally just answered that. As much as you want to do in order to get your results. There is no magic number to that. You're welcome, Danny, no problem. Whilst my hip is knackered, my steps are down, about 3K per day. However, what bike is fine, so would it be a good idea to 5 sets 20 seconds interval after each gym session? No, what I would suggest, Chris, is do, for you especially, do 8 sets of 8. More anabolic, it's going to be more explosive, more powerful. Do 8 sets of 8 seconds. You can do that, no problem. I can bench press twice as much weight using a Smith machine, but it is as beneficial as normal bench press setup. No, absolutely, Dan Colley. Smith machine is essentially you're providing just the force, and often an unbalanced force, whereas obviously with a bench press, the reason it's so much harder is because you're trying to stabilize the bar, you're trying to direct the bar, there's going to be far much more muscle involved, so metabolically it's more challenging. So I would try, if you can, you know, something like a Smith machine is good as a finisher on your weight training sessions, but I would certainly be trying to use a barbell bench press, free weight barbell bench press, much more so than a Smith machine. Bobby, if I subscribe to Live Up, will you make me a program based on my training experience, or is that the same routine you make for everybody? Will it include deadlift if requested? Bobby, the Live Up plans are the same for everybody. It's a pre-made program. It's something I wrote many years ago, but it's arguably the most effective program anywhere on the internet. You know, the results speak for themselves. There's a lot of people in here on this chat now who have done it, and they will vouch for that. You know, it doesn't get better than Live Up program. If you want something written specifically for you, you will have to pay the little bit extra and do the one-to-one online training. Again, you can go to upfitness.com and you can check out the 2 options. Live Up is the £50 per month, but it is not specific to you. And the one-to-one online training is completely dialed in into every detail to make it work for you perfectly. And then with regards to exercise selection, your trainer, the trainer that is assigned to you 24/7 will decide on that. So for the macros of carbohydrates, how do you prioritize on fruits, starchy carbs, depending on what you choose fruit each? Iro, you're massively overcomplicating this. You're massively overcomplicating this. don't sweat it. If you've got 50 to 75 grams of carbs, eat a couple of pieces of fruit a day and the rest vegetables. You'll be fine. You're looking into something way deeper than it needs to be looked into, and this is why a lot of people fail, because they overcomplicate it. Just eat a load of vegetables and that's pretty much going to take you up. If it doesn't, you know, if you're eating a load of spinach and broccoli and it only takes you up to 50 but you've got 75, then have another 50 grams of oats post-workout. Everything, problem solved, done. I aim for 6 litres of water a day. What would the water intake per glass? Really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. And I just wanted to say thanks for the advice a few weeks ago via this. I was training 6 day, +3 runs a day, stopped running and felt so much better. Rest is key, more is not better. Correct, Hannah, correct. I'm glad you actually put some trust in what I said and actioned it, and you will always find it beneficial. You may even find, you know, make sure you give it a few weeks, don't just back off, because your body, not only will you feel better, when your body returns to health, your body shape will likely change very quickly as well, once you're healthy again. 2 weeks into chest specialization, and hey, should hit a bench press personal best on Monday. Always been stuck in the same weight for years before. Awesome programming. Awesome. Hannah, my client has sciatica, had it a few years ago, wants to still keep training cardio weights. What would you do? Be very careful about how you train around it. Know your client's capabilities. I potentially wouldn't do common things like unilateral exercises like split squats, lunges, walking lunges, etc., because it may cause an imbalance in the hip. Try to stick to fairly steady kind of closed chain movements. Potentially you're gonna have to take it really easy. You know, it's very individually dependent, because obviously when muscles start to pump, when things are moving, there's a reason that sciatica has occurred anyway. There'll be an imbalance. You just have to try and work it. It's very individually dependent on that, so it's difficult for me to give you clear advice. 8 sets of 8 seconds, consider it done. Good. How do you get strong mindset over sugar cravings? Partially, you remember your goal. You understand why you're there in the first place, what you're doing, why you want to be there. Secondly, depends on the sugar cravings, because if you're getting too bad at sugar cravings and you're getting too regularly, that doesn't tell me that they're just sugar cravings. It tells me that you've got something wrong in your diet. It tells me that you probably aren't eating enough calories, or you are not eating enough carbohydrates as a baseline. That's usually the culprit, because people go super low carb and stay there for too long. A low carb boot camp style thing for a couple of weeks can be very beneficial, but doing it for too long, it can actually be detrimental, especially because you'll end up craving loads of sugar because your calories are too low and your carbohydrates are too low, and then you cheat on shit anyway, which throws you out of your diet. What you're better off doing, if you're craving carbohydrates all the time, if you're craving sweet stuff, interpret that signal. Your body wants sugar. It's asking you for sugar. Don't give it sugar, give it clean carbs. So if you find that you are always craving cake or chocolate or whatever, give your body a bowl of oats post-training or before bed and watch what happens. Cravings will go away, your results will get better, chances are you'll get leaner and you'll train better. Heard glutamine and BCAAs are overrated. What are your thoughts? Rose, as I say, I mentioned this earlier on in the live feed here, that there's a lot of stuff coming out now, this study, that study. Do you know what? For me, it's all a grey area. I've never been one to believe everything I read. I've never been one to believe everything I hear. I've never been one to believe everything I say. I will take what is out there and I will create my own understanding of it. I will see how it applies to me. For me, things like BCAAs, glutamine, it isn't as simple as ABC. There is more to every action. There is a cause and effect. Now, for instance, with BCAAs, it's often flavored water. This and that. It increases hydration. It gets extra vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, etc. into people with the various supplements that are out there. Are they a good or bad thing? I think it's too early to tell. There's something about them, because I'm sorry, I've been using them on my clients for nearly 12 years, 11, 12 years, and the results have always spoken for themselves. You know, even if it's a psychological edge that people get when they're training by thinking they're drinking something that is worth it, who knows, you know? Who knows? For sure, our Amplify supplement works. The pumps I get, and I'm not one to really get good pumps. I know I'm not very insulin sensitive, and I have my times when I overtrain, or certainly under recover. Our Amplify supplement gets me there because it's full of electrolytes as well. Stops me from cramping up. It's amazing, but that's not a BCAA supplement. But it's a grey area at the moment, so for me, the jury's still out there. What is your view on dairy? How much do you recommend 0% Greek yogurt? I don't like dairy at all. I used to have no real issue with it until you kind of see how badly people take the piss with it. People go nuts on it, you know. People are necking down half a kilogram of cheese every single day. Greek yogurt instead of a real proper meaty meal. So I'm not a huge fan of it. It's also full of estrogens. It's often from, you know, most of us, we're not lucky enough to be able to get a big pint of milk, a big quart of milk straight out of a cow that has been brought up properly on the right food and running around a field happy as Larry. What we tend to get is farmed cows which are full of estrogens. They've been fed lots of steroids, lots of shit, which has given us man boobs, it's given us female pattern fat deposits, love handles, bellies, etc. So I'm not a huge fan of it, so I try to get my clients to avoid going on it at all costs where possible. You're welcome, Hannah, and you're welcome, Nurture. For a natural 32 sets weeks divided by 2 sessions for body part, is that too much? Divided by 2 sets, yeah, way too much for me, Cam. Like, Christ. You might be able to get away with that for a week or two, but you're not doing that long term. You're certainly not going to get very good results out of it. You'll be flat and ruined. The Live Up plan has stopped my sugar cravings. It's amazing. I have had cravings for as long as I can remember. This plan is incredible. Not once, a craving for 5 weeks. Amazing. Love that one, Laura. Thank you for the input there. Yeah, this was one of the things, you know, those of you who've seen these live feeds, who've talked to me about Live Up, when I planned it, it was basically me taking apart the previous 7 or 8 years of plans, programs that I'd written, nutritional plans that I'd written, and where I got the best results. And I've always been one to make very, very tight notes on my clients' progress and what happened on certain days and this, that, and the other. And when I wrote the Live Up plan, it was about trying to remove all limiting factors. What do I know every single client struggles with, and how can I remove that? And that's how I wrote the program. So hopefully it does work for these kinds of things. It's very, very effective. But the results again speak for themselves. This is why everyone's getting such great results. So thank you for that comment. Can I use your gym in Dubai if I'm on holiday there, and where is it? Our gym in Dubai is in DIFC. I'll probably be there tomorrow when I leave here, but you can only go in there if you are with a personal trainer, if you have personal training sessions booked. It's not like our Marbella gym, which is a gym that you can go in as a member. You can pay for holiday passes because it's so much bigger. You know, I've got all the space in the world there. If you were to go into the Dubai gym, you have to have personal training sessions pre-booked. Thank you. Love the no BS approach as always. No problem, Rosie. You know, everyone's trying to make a statement. Everyone's trying to say they know this, they know that. No one knows a thing. I'm sorry, but everyone's talking shit. The human body is the most fascinating, enchanting, adaptable, incredible thing we are ever going to know. It adapts to everything. Everything changes. We've got no idea what we know inside. You know, we go back 100 years. We thought that the human body worked this way. 20 years later, we knew that that was completely wrong. 20 years later, we knew that what we then thought was completely wrong. Last year, what we thought we knew is now completely wrong. Guess what? Next year, what we think we know now is going to be completely wrong. You know, I really get annoyed by people who immediately buy into the last thing that was sold well to them, the last bit of evidence that was suggested. And, you know, again, there is evidence to suggest whatever you want to suggest. If you want to find something as a fact, you can find it if you work hard enough. You can always find a reason to justify whatever it is you've done or whatever it is you say. So I'm kind of on the fence on all this kind of stuff. I certainly have found that stuff worked for me, so fine. I can vouch for your amplified pumps. It's mega, isn't it? It is mega. It also add a scoop of UP creatine. Yeah, the extra glutamine in there and leucine and the electrolytes for me, amazing, especially with the amount of sweat, because I know I lose a lot of vitamins and minerals when I'm sweating, especially whether I'm in Marbella or Dubai or whatever. It gets hot, right? So I'm losing a lot of water. Shane, Vibe, what's your take on fattier protein sources, for example, chicken breast versus chicken thighs when on a fat loss diet? If I'm taking someone lower carb or lower external fats, Vibe, then I suggest that they have fattier meats. So I've not really got too much of a problem with it. Chris Alpino, when I first joined Live Up, I overcomplicated macros. I was very obsessed by the number. The biggest benefit for me is how you simplify nutrition and eliminate stressing for lifelong results. But again, yes, as I say, it was an emotional diet. You know, you treat someone's brain and their body will fall into place. You know, if we look at all of your diets, everyone out there who has tried a diet in the past, what has been the barrier? It's never been a physical barrier. It has never, ever, ever been a physical barrier. It's been an emotional issue. It's been a lapse in will. It's been sadness. It's been upset. It's been stress. Take these things away, and the only thing you're ever left with is success. And this was the important thing to me. You know, I say 3 weeks I was locked away in a farmhouse, a cottage, writing this program and taking it apart and rewriting it and taking it apart and rewriting it. And, you know, I'm not an academic by any means, but what I am pretty good at is seeing the real world and simplifying it for my own dumbass eyes, and that's how I wrote this program, to make sure that everybody could follow it fairly simply, and it solved every problem that I know anyone would come up against. Shane, new colleague here, Elliot, out in Dubai at the minute, starting at UP Dubai in October. You have nearly got an application in Marbella. Have a safe flight out, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm leaving in about an hour. Well, literally as soon as I close down this this live feed, I will be straight on the plane. Again, just a massive thank you to Richard Branson and Virgin Atlantic for bringing me up here in the VIP lounge and letting me use it for the live feed. So, Branson, if you're watching this, thank you. Virgin Atlantic, thank you. You rock. Does the Singapore UP have holiday passes to use the gym? I'm going there next month, thanks. Again, no, as I say, Cam, Marbella is the only one which is a gym that you can actually go in and train without a trainer. Every other gym we have across the world, you can go in there if you have a personal training session booked or you have a package of the classes booked. But you would have to contact them individually if you want to get a trainer set up there while you're there. Would I recommend cardio, weight training, HIIT training for weight loss to tone it up? I would recommend potentially all of them, but in the order of weight training first, always weight training first. High intensity interval training would be your second priority and cardio your final priority. Rose, how close are you with launching the PT course in UP? It's a while off yet. It's not immediately around the corner, but it is coming. What do you think of these new Nocco drinks? Nocco's everywhere. I'll tell you what I think. They don't half have some bloody fit promoters. Everyone in Sweden, every hot girl in Sweden, every hot guy in Sweden seems to be promoting Nocco. But not for me, you know. I've tasted them, not a massive fan of the taste, but it's not really for me to put an opinion on them. If you're drinking something fizzy, for instance, during a workout, probably not smart. I don't think I need to tell you why. Right, I get the feeling we are going to be ticking down sometime soon to the end of this feed, so I will be saying bye to you shortly. Thank you all for joining in.
Ladies and gentlemen, can Roberta Hoffman,
you see, they were calling for a few people. I'm not one of them, but there we are. Thank you very much for joining. I am going to get on my flight, but thankfully we've managed, thanks to Virgin Atlantic, we've managed to keep my promise of never, ever missing a Wednesday slot. So thanks for popping in. Remember, this will go up on YouTube. I've got the other camera set up on a bookshelf over in the corner there, so it's a little bit odd. I'll try and sort of light out. This will all go up on YouTube, so you can rewatch in the next week or so. But until then, I have been Elliot Upton, and this is, as always, the UP Fitness Live Q&A. We'll be here next week, Wednesday 8 PM. I believe I will be from Spain next week, maybe Spain or the UK. Who knows yet? But it's all an adventure. We can follow my travels all around the world, and everybody loves it. So thank you for coming in. We've got one more. I'll cover this while we've got it. Slightly sticking to calorie deficit, cardio, body, composition training. Lost 2 inches off belly in the first 2 weeks, and then nothing next 2 weeks. It could just be a gentle stall. Keep them there. If you know they're being compliant, keep them there. It takes. I've got to bounce out now, so thank you all. Thank you for all of you guys from the Live Up program for giving everybody some insider information on what you've experienced. I love you all. I will see you guys in the forum. I'll check in with you guys really quickly before I take off the tarmac here in Heathrow, and then I'll check in with you again when I touch down in Dubai with a few videos. As always, if you need anything in the meantime, do send a direct message to the @UP Fitness Live page. One of our lovely girls, Jess, will be there to answer them. Get on over to my profile, Elliot Upton, give it a follow. You'll see daily tips there, videos, etc. Get over to the @LiveUpOnline profile, follow that as well, where you'll get even more videos. And of course, go to upfitness.com, check out the plans, check out the one-to-one online training, check out the Live Up online plans, and you will be there with everything you need. You couldn't possibly ask for more. So I have been Elliot. I'm going to go and fly safe, hopefully. Not me, actually, I'm not a pilot, but I will see you all very soon. Right, YouTube, that was our Instagram feed. This has been an amazing little edition. I like it when we're moving around, and it feels a little bit more special, a little more important when I'm from somewhere different, so I might try and do this a little bit more often. Remember, you haven't been here to ask me questions live, but you can of course put any questions in the comments box below. I'll be sure to answer them. If it warrants a full video, I'll be doing that as well. Watch out in the coming weeks as well, because I'm going to be setting up from a few requests that a bunch of you have had just into the day-to-day life of me, UP Marbella, what we do in the Live Up plan. I'm going to start a vlog. I'll probably put out between 1 and 2 a week, just general day-to-day stuff, how I live my life, how my work is. A lot of you want a bit of an insight into what it's like to be a UP trainer. You want to know more about the Live Up plans. You want to know more about me specifically. So I will be happy to do that. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, you share these videos, you like these videos, you send them on to anyone and everyone you possibly can to share the wealth. But until next week, Wednesday 8 o'clock, you probably won't see it Wednesday 8 o'clock, but I'm saying that because I've just got into the habit of saying it there. I will see you very soon. Goodbye, YouTube.